Hey everybody, Cody with Princess Craft RV. Come along with me today as we go through this outdoors RV Timber Ridge 23 DBS. Let me show you right up front here how to get this thing hooked up to your tow vehicle. So starting right here, it's going to ride on a 2 5/16 ball. Once you get your tow vehicle backed under it, you're going to use your power tongue jack to lower it down onto the ball. Once you get it down on it, all you got to do is slide your coupler here forward. So you're just going to pick up on the back of it, slide it forward. Make sure these ears right here drop down into that cavity. Releasing it would just be the same. You're just going to pick up and slide the coupler back, and that should release it. A couple other things that are going to have to be hooked up to the tow vehicle are going to be your safety chains. Which do need to be crossed but not wrapped. So you're going to cross them, and then they just clip onto your receiver hitch. When they're not in use, they do store right up here on this little holder. We're also going to have a safety breakaway cable that does need to be hooked up and run on its own path. Needs to hook up to the receiver hitch as well, using a clip or replacing it with like a zip cord that is kind of a curly Q type cord. Has a clip on it already and keeps everything up off the ground. Last thing that we're going to be hooking up to your tow vehicle is going to be your 7-way plug here. This is going to run all of your lights, turn signals, brake lights, and electric brakes if your tow vehicle is equipped with a brake control. And it also stores right here on this little holder. All right, let's talk about your power tongue jack. Does have a service light on it. And then other than that, it's just basic up and down feature. It is a long reach jack, so it can go pretty high. And if it does fail on the electric portion, you do have a manual override. You're just gonna pop this cap right here on top. You're gonna take that off. It's got a little lanyard on it so you don't lose it. And down inside, you'll find a drive, and you do get a manual crank handle to go with this. So if this does fail for some reason, you can still manually crank it up and down. All right, just behind that, we're going to find our LP cylinders. These are 30-pound cylinders, so these do have to be refilled. They cannot be exchanged at an exchange location. So keep that in mind whenever you do need to get propane. As they're set right now for use, this is equipped with an auto changeover regulator. So to make that work, you would keep both cylinders open. Right now, this is your supply cylinder selection switch. So right now, this would be our primary cylinder. When it runs empty, it would automatically start pulling from this one. We do recommend that you run these manually, where you keep one cylinder open, one closed, and then just use your selector switch to pick your supply tank. So when this one runs empty, you would shut the service valve on it, open the service valve on the other one, and move the selector switch. Now to remove these, to take them and have them refilled, first thing you got to do is make sure your service valve is closed. Go ahead and remove your LP service hose and then loosen the wing nut. Some people like to take these all the way off. You can just loosen it up. All we've really got to do is get it loose enough where we can lift this crossbar out and be able to tip our cylinder out. Now these are heavy when they're full. When they're empty, they're not too bad. When you are transporting it in your vehicle, make sure it's in the upright position. It's a safety thing there, so make sure you do transport it. Also has a dust cap to cover the valve there so you don't get any debris or anything in it. When you put it back into service, it's just going to be the opposite of taking it off. Just put it back up here. Lift your crossbar. Get it all repositioned. Go ahead and snug your wing nut down. This does not need to be cranked down overly tight. Just snug. Go ahead and reconnect your LP service hose. And then if you want to put this cylinder back in service, you can go ahead and turn the service valve back on or leave it closed and continue to use the other cylinder. Now this is also covered with a big plastic cover that just sits right over the cylinders like this. And it does have an access flap on the top that you can get into. You just loosen up these thumb nuts right here, and then you can tip this open and have access to the service valves as well as the changeover selector switch on the regulator for normal use. Make sure you get these little nuts up here tight when you get ready to travel. These lids will blow off. To remove it, all you have to do is pick it up and pull it off. Now, just behind your propane cylinders is where you'll find your batteries. This trailer is going to be equipped with 2 Group 24 lead acid deep cycle RV marine batteries. They do have to be serviced. You just pop these caps off here. It might be easier if you remove the batteries from the trailer due to location, and you will top them up with distilled water as needed. If you remove the batteries for any purpose, I do recommend using your phone, take a picture of cable location. That way when you put your batteries back in, you don't get anything crossed and cause any issues. Last thing that we've got up here on the tongue is going to be our toy lock. It is a retractable locking cable lock for your toys. Great for securing your portable generators, your bicycles, your dirt bikes, anything like that. You can loop it through them and lock it back to itself. All right, moving on over to the side of the trailer here. We do have a pass-through storage compartment here. Good sized door, slam latches with a key lock, held open with a magnetic catch. And inside you'll see it's just a big pass-through storage, runs from one side of the trailer to the other. There is a light up here in the corner with a switch on it for lighting up the cabinet. So right here in front of the slide underneath, there is going to be a white pull handle. This is going to be your freshwater tank dump valve. So you'll just pull that out and your freshwater tank will dump straight down onto the ground. All right, on our slide, let's talk a little bit about slide maintenance. You'll see your slide rails here at the top and the bottom. There's 2 on the other side as well, same location. These do need to be lubed periodically, usually about every 90 days, especially if you're using it a lot. There's different products on the market. We do recommend something with Teflon or TPFE in it for lubing these. Just make sure they are clean and dry. Go ahead and spray some lube on each one, run the slide in and out a couple times to transfer that to the gears in the wall, and you're good to go. The other thing to check out is going to be the rubber seals that go all the way around the slide. And using a seal conditioner on those to keep them pliable and give them some added protection against the sun so they continue to do what they need to do and move with the slide. So Outdoors has put some information on here about torquing lug nuts and things like that, and it also is equipped with a Dexter never adjust axle. So they recommend retorquing at 10, 25, and 50 miles on your lug nuts for the first initial trip, and then also after any time the wheels have been removed for service. So if you take it in and get new tires put on it, they're going to torque it before it leaves, but then you need to retorque it those 3 times after that. And then Princess Craft always recommends retorquing before every time you hit the road. Another thing to check with your wheels and tires is going to be your tire pressure. Keep up with your tire pressure just like you do on your car. If you can't remember your specified tire pressure, it's going to be on this sticker right here at the front of the trailer. And it's going to give you your tire size and your recommended tire pressure. Get your camera all wet. Nice. Okay, just behind our slide, we're going to find our 30 amp service cord. Let me show you how this thing hooks up. So you'll see here we've got 3 slots, one of them being an L shape. Side of the trailer is going to have 3 prongs, one of them being an L shape. We're just going to match those up. Maybe. Give it a little twist to the right to initially lock it on, and then we're going to take this silver collar and we're going to snug that up. And you want to go ahead and tighten that down. It doesn't need to be over torqued, but you want a good snug connection there so we don't get any play in that cord end, so we don't have any overheating or arcing issues that could cause problems. Next to that, we're going to find 2 exterior coax hookups. The one that's not labeled is going to be for your cable. The other one that says DSS is going to be for satellite hookup. And I'll go over how to do the other stuff with that on the inside. Exterior shower, hot and cold. The shower head will have a flow control button on it for controlling the flow, and it can hang right here in the door if you use it regularly. These are a pretty high freeze point because they are exterior, so make sure when you winterize that you don't forget to winterize your outside shower. Now, 2 water connections here on the side of the trailer just behind the outside shower. Top one here is going to be for your freshwater connection, which is going to be when you're hooked up to a water hose with a water pressure regulator or city water connection. We want to make sure we're controlling pressure by using that pressure regulator every time. This will just provide pressure to the trailer for water use. And then our connection below that's going to be our Sani flush. To do this one, you're going to want your own hose to hook up to this. Don't use your freshwater hose. You're going to want a designated black-gray water hose to hook up to this. And all you have to do here is you're going to hook your hose up. Make sure your dump valve is open on your black tank. Go ahead and turn the water on at the hose bib and allow this to run for about 10 minutes. And that's going to give that black tank a good flush for anything that may not have come out regularly. So let's move right down here. We do have a service light for nighttime dumping. So if your tanks fill up at night or you're breaking camp at night, you do have a service light here that just has a switch on the bottom of it to turn it on and off so you can see what's going on down here. Now down here we have your sewer connection, which is going to go right here with your bayonet fitting on your hose. And then we're going to have 2 dump valves. We've got a gray one here on the left and a black one on the right. The black one's going to be our body waste or our black tank or our toilet water is what that's going to be. Gray is going to be sink and shower water only. So we always recommend leaving this one closed until the tank is full or until you're ready to break camp, and then you can dump it. We always recommend following with the gray water. So on the back of the trailer, we've got your 4-inch square bumper with a removable plug here on the end. You can just pull that out, and it's a good place to store your sewer hose. Just keep in mind this is a metal bumper. You can have sharp edges. Be cautious that you don't end up damaging your sewer hose when you're storing it in there or removing it for use. All right, coming around to the back side completely. A couple things going on back here. We're going to get your license plate mounted right here. This trailer is equipped with a receiver hitch on the rear end, and it is a max hitch capacity of 250 pounds. So it's a good place to put a little cargo rack, throw some extra gear on there, throw some generators on there, something like that to keep them out of the trailer. Bike rack, something like that to transport stuff. Got your spare tire that is mounted to the bumper, and if you've got to use this, just pull the cover off, take the lug nuts off of it, and then you can remove it from the trailer for use. Just remember when you check your tire pressures, don't forget your spare, because a flat spare doesn't do you any good. If you've got to jack the trailer up, you always want to go to the frame. If you for some reason cannot get to the frame and you have to go to the axle, you want to get as close to the frame or the outside of the axle as possible or towards the wheel so you don't bend the axle. It's really recommended to go to the frame and avoid the axle unless you absolutely have to. You got your roof access ladder here. You need to go up there and check out the roof on this thing periodically, make sure there's no tears, holes, or anything like that, any damage. It's a good time to go ahead and check all the sealants around all of the fixtures up there. Make sure you don't see any gaps, pits, anything that might look suspicious that might let water through. At the very back end, we do have an access door that can get you into a small storage area underneath the lower bunk. Or you can gain access to the bunk if you're agile enough to climb up in there. This door can be locked from the inside with a deadbolt on the red lever here. Otherwise, it's a key lock from the outside. Okay, the 23 DBS is equipped with an exterior kitchen on this model. So it's got a couple of features. Got an outside sink here where you can wash up. It's got your towel hooks here. When you have this pulled all the way out, there are some safety hooks here in the corners on each side that do need to be latched. So you don't, when you're leaning on it or if you're cooking, you don't accidentally push it back into the cabinet. Now when you get ready to store it, you have to undo those, and then these two right here, when you get it all the way in, are gonna latch down at the bottom, just like that. Now, this does have to be hooked up for the gas supply. To do that, we're gonna use this quick connect hose here, and it's gonna go to this connection right here underneath. Underneath the pull-out kitchen here, you'll find 2 auxiliary gas connections down here for hooking in auxiliary gas appliances, one being your pull-out stove here. You can hook in another portable stove. You can hook in a fireplace, something like that that runs off of propane. So all you've got to do here is remove your dust cover on one of these. This is going to have a collar on it, a lot like an air hose if you've ever messed with one of those. You're going to push that back, take the hose and push it in, and then release the collar. That should lock in. Now you see here on both of these you also have another gas valve that does have to be opened. So you'll see that there, that has to be in the open position to allow gas to flow through. All right, the other end of this is going to hook up right here underneath your pull-out kitchen station. So again, you're going to pull that collar back like that, and then again we're going to have the safety gas valve on this one as well that has to be open, and that one has to be open as well. Now that will allow us to provide gas to our cooktop. So you can open up the cooktop, and then you've got your wind blocks here on the sides that just sit off to the side, and they'll actually help keep that lid open as well. When you get ready to light this, all you have to do is turn your knob to the light position, use your stick lighter to light it up. Once it gets going, set your temperature, do your cooking, and you'll be done. One other cool thing is you do have a little pull-out cabinet extender over here on the side to give you some more space out here as well. And then for the water hookup, you're going to have a flexible faucet head here, if you will. Again, we're going to have another quick connect connection. You're just going to push down on the collar, put that in there. Make sure that it's in there good before you kick your water on, and then you've got hot and cold water. This is actually going to drain into the tank, so there's no catch needed. It's going to drain right off into the tank like it needs to. Now, right next to our pull-out kitchen, we are going to find an exterior 110 outlet. And we're also going to find access to the backside of our refrigerator. A couple things to show you in here. First off, we're going to have our 110 plug right here. We're going to have our Norcold service board right here. This is going to basically be the brains of everything on this refrigerator. And sometimes if you're working remotely, you may be asked to get in there. There are generally some fuses back there that could be checked if you're having some operational issues. One other thing that I like to show is our manual shutoff here for the gas valve. This little knob right here can be turned to shut gas flow off. Right now it's going to allow gas to flow through, and that would turn it off. This little peep sight right here, this little door goes down over it, but this is a good place to check and inspect for insect nests. If you're trying to light things on gas, we've seen spider webs even get in here and affect the ability to light that up on gas. So it's a good thing to get in here and inspect and clean as necessary. To remove this or put it back on, just have to get the bottoms to line up, get your clips to snap in at the top, and the last but not least step is to lock these. This is probably the most important thing on these. If you don't get them locked, if you forget to lock them, that will blow off and it'll be gone when you get where you're going. Just below that, we're going to find your Suburban exhaust for the furnace. This is going to get hot anytime you're using your furnace in the wintertime. So just keep that in mind. Don't put anything in front of it. Don't block it, and watch out for hands so they don't get burned. On this unit, it is equipped with a 10-gallon gas electric water heater. Dead center right here, we're going to find your anode rod / drain plug. This does need to be drained off whenever you're not using it to keep all the sediment out. It's a good time to inspect your anode rod as well and replace it if needed. This little switch down in the bottom left corner is going to be your 110 switch for the heating element. So if you're wanting to heat it on 110, you're going to use that, and I'll show you some other switches for water heater operation on the inside. One thing you want to make sure you never do is fire this, either gas or electric, without water in it. A good way to test it for water is with the pop-off valve here. Once you get hooked up to water or you're pressurizing with the water pump, you can just open this valve a little bit and you should have water come out. If it's just air, I would keep going until you get water. Now this does have a access door here that comes off, just sits on these little pins at the bottom and uses this little D-loop right here to attach. You're just going to line it up with the slot in the door. It's spring loaded. Give it a little pull, twist it, and fold it over, and that'll keep that door on there. This right here is going to be our freshwater tank fill. Very easy to use. Pop the cap off, put your water hose in there, fill it up. You can either fill it up until it gushes back out at you to get a full tank. If you want to carry less than a full tank, you can use the monitor panel on the inside of the trailer to monitor how much water is in it, and then pull your hose whenever you're ready to camp or whenever it's full enough. Entry step, triple step, very easy to use. You're just going to grab the bottom step, fold it on top of the middle step, grab the middle step and pick up. It's going to fold right in. To deploy it for use, you're just going to grab and pull out and then flip the bottom step out. Okay, this is the other side of our front pass-through storage. We're going to have the same operation here. Slam latch with a key lock and magnetic catch to hold it open. In here we will find your crank handle is hanging right here for your tongue jack. And then on the front wall, we'll find a couple of switches. We are going to find your battery disconnect switch. In storage or winter times, whatever, you're going to want to make sure that's in the off position. Anytime you're using it, towing it down the road or plugged in at a campground, you do want to have it turned to the on position. The other switch that we have in here is going to be this on-off switch. That is going to be for your service lighting that is right here behind your batteries, so you can see things at night. And then the other two switches in here are going to be for your stabilizing jacks for front and rear. You just push the extend button or retract button, whichever way you need to go. You're just going to run these all the way to the ground after you get level side to side and front to back. Then you'll run these all the way to the ground, and you just keep going until they give a little bit of a pressure, and they'll pretty much kick off on their own. So you can hear them a little bit kind of groan, and then they just pretty much stop. They do it all on their own. To retract them, it's just going to be the opposite. Push the switch the other way and retract them up. Make sure they're fully retracted before you hit the road. You don't want to grab one on something and damage it. One thing I forgot back over here above our water heater area is going to be our vent hood for our cooktop on the inside of the camper. It's got these latches right here. You can just pop that open, and that will allow the cooking gases to come out. Just don't forget to latch this back into place whenever you get ready to travel. Just give them a good push. They should pop into place, and that'll hold that thing closed while you travel. All right, that should pretty much cover everything on the outside of our 23 DBS. Let's go check out the inside. All right, so here we are inside the 23 DBS. Let me show you one thing that Outdoors provides that can hook right up to your propane cylinders. It's going to be this StayFlow Plus. This can be hooked up to your propane cylinders, and then this can give you another way to hook up to some propane accessories. It's kind of a cool feature that comes with the Outdoors RVs. Okay, right here coming inside the door up to our left is going to be a lot of our switches. This first one's going to be our monitor panel. So this is where I was talking about checking tank levels. You can see here we can check our battery, our freshwater tank, our black water tank, and our gray water tank. So you can watch these, and when they say full, then you should be full. We have a couple other lights here. You can see the three-way pump light there. That's going to be our water pump switch. We'll turn that on and off. So if we're dry camping or trying to access water while we're cruising down the road and we have water in the freshwater tank, we're going to use the water pump to get that out. Next switch is going to be our water heater for the LP gas side. So this is going to just light up the gas side of the water heater. That fault light up there will initially turn on and then turn off once everything gets going. If it comes back on, that means, hey, I didn't light up on gas. The other switch here is going to be our water heater electric side. Remember, there's a switch on the outside that has to be on as well as this switch to run it on the 110 side. You can run them together for faster recovery. So our next set of switches, the first switch is going to be for our awning LED light that runs the length of the awning. You can see that there. The next switch to that is going to be for the two lights right here at the entry door. There's going to be one right here at the entry door, and then there's another one on the other side that does the same thing, just turns on and off, gives you some entry light access. Then we're going to have our awning switch, extend retract. Just that, if you're going to extend the awning, just push and hold the extend button until the awning gets all the way out. And then the retract for retracting it in for storage. Anytime it gets windy, retract it up and make sure it is fully retracted before you hit the road. And then we've got our slide room switch. It's just that slide room in, slide room out. Make sure there is nothing on the outside or the inside of the trailer that can get in the way, whether you are extending or retracting the slide. Make sure there is nothing in the way. Push and hold which way you need to go until it makes its full travel distance. It will stop on its own when it gets there. Last thing over here is going to be our freshwater tank heater. So if you're cruising with fresh water in the trailer and you don't want it to freeze, flip that on. It's got a little heating pad on the tank. Should keep it from freezing up. All right, let's move just below the sink over here by the entry door. We're going to have a 110 outlet as well as a little charge station. So we've got a 12-volt port here at the top and then 2 USB ports down here at the bottom. Fire extinguisher is going to be just below that. Biggest thing about this is pushing that little green button right there on top. Make sure it pops back up. As long as it pops back up, you should still have pressure in the cylinder and it should do what it needs to do. We do have a little storage cabinet access from this side here to underneath the sink. And then we have another little access right here with a finger pull in it. If you just put your finger in there and pop this panel out, inside you're going to find some access to the water heater and the water pump. And we are going to find access to some winterization valves and our winterization hose. So this hose right here with the cap on it is going to be our winterizing hose. If you follow it around, you will find a valve right here. And right now it's to pull water from the freshwater tank. If this lever right here was pointing to our hose for winterization, it would stop pulling from the tank and pull straight from this hose. And this hose just goes down into your jug of antifreeze. And then this panel just Velcros back in place. Okay, let's move over into the kitchen here. First thing, we do have a countertop extension. It's got hinges on the bottom, so these do lock into place. When you get ready to pull it up into use, just pull it all the way up and make sure that these actually lock into place. When you get ready to store it, just lift up on it and then push in on these till they break loose or break over, and then you should be able to let it down. Below that, you will find 2 storage drawers. And throughout the trailer, you'll find a few of these floor registers. That's going to be for your furnace. Now over the sink, we do have some storage. You'll find some outdoors goodies up here, owner's manuals, and some other stuff that they provide. And you'll also find your 110 outlet for your microwave. Know where that is? They do accidentally get unplugged when you're putting stuff in and out of the cabinet, so watch out for that. Behind our sink will be the only blind in here that is a mini blind style, and they do this for 2 purposes. One is going to be fire hazard. The other one is going to be cleaning. You're splashing on it. If it's a fabric shade, chances are you're going to end up ruining it. So they use this. It works just like a home style blind, up and down with your wand here to open and close it. And then you do have the travel latches on the side. So if you want to travel with the blind in the down position, make sure you get it latched in there. Our sink has sink covers here, so we can get quite a bit of countertop space if we need it. If you need to remove these for access to the sink, you're just going to lift them off. These are pretty heavy duty, so be careful with them. And in the sink, you will find a removable grate here that can be used for drying or draining off. And then our pull-out spray head here. Got 2 different types of spray patterns. You got flowing and then you've got shower. So you got solid stream and shower just by pushing which direction you want here on the head. Flow control is towards you or towards the wall, and then temperature control is hot to the left and cold to the right. Microwave, basic turntable style microwave. Put your stuff in it, set your timer, let it go. Our vent hood here, we do have a light built into it as well as our fan. Remember, the vent on the outside needs to be open if we're going to use the vent fan to pull all the cooking fumes out of here. Now behind your cooktop here, there is a little knife rack back there where you can put some knives. And that'll bring us to our 3-burner cooktop here. So to open this up, this glass cooktop cover, you're going to grab the front portion, fold it over the back portion, and then we're going to lift up on the back portion and take it back to the wall, and it's going to stop just short of the wall, and it should just sit there for you. Now to get these to light up, it's going to be very simple. You're going to take and turn your knob to the light position, and you'll use the striker here to get things to light. Once you're done cooking with these, let them cool completely before you close the glass cover back over them so you don't cause any damage. Now to light your oven here, this little guy right here is going to be your pilot light. You'll have to take your knob and turn it to pilot. You're going to have to push and hold that one in. Use your stick lighter to light the pilot right here. Once it gets going, set your temperature, let it come up to temperature, do your baking, and when you're done, turn it off and you'll be done. Just below our oven, we do have another large storage drawer. And then below our sink, we do have a cabinet here that will pass through to the one over by the other side. The other thing we have here is another access panel for the back side of our water heater. And these are going to be our other two valves for winterization. You'll see here we have a valve at the top and a valve at the bottom. When you want to allow water through the water heater, these are going to point towards the water heater as they are right now. When you want to bypass for winterization, these are going to turn and flow with this hose that goes around and bypass the water heater. We do not need to pump antifreeze into our water heater. It's a very simple process. So right here next to the refrigerator is going to be another light switch, and this is actually going to control all the other lights right here in the main living area of the trailer. Norcold refrigerator. To get into these to the freezer and the refrigerator, just these little latches right here. It's pretty natural when you grab under here to open them up. They just pull open. You'll see here our refrigerator at the bottom, freezer at the top. These do take anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to completely cool. We do recommend prepping them at least the night before, and when you get ready to put everything in them, if you can already have it pre-chilled, that will help the efficiency of your refrigerator. Now for our control panel, 3 buttons. First one's going to be our power button. If you push and hold it, it's going to turn off. To turn it back on, you're just going to push, and you'll see all of our lights kind of come on and things get going. Now this has essentially 2 modes. You could call it 3 if you want. The first one's going to be our auto mode, which is going to automatically select the most reliable source, whether it be AC electric or LP gas. Right now it's in the auto electric mode because we're plugged into shore power. Now if our power went out, it would automatically switch over to LP gas and light up on LP gas. If you want to manually force electric mode, you just have to cycle through the mode until the A goes out and just the plug is on. That's going to be electric only. If you push again, that's going to be gas only. And then if you push again, it's going to take us back to auto mode where it does its selects between whichever source it can use. Now this is going to be our temperature setting here. You have 1 through 5 snowflakes on that to change temperature settings. All right, just below the refrigerator, you're going to have a nice wood grate there covered. That is going to be for the fresh air return for your furnace, so don't cover it, don't block it anytime you're using your furnace. That's going to bring us to our bunk area back here in the back. Got lights overhead with a switch on it. This one down here is going to be on the wall right here with a switch. You're going to have 110 and 12 volt charge locations, or USB, and then 110 with a little storage net. Down here we're going to have USB and 110 with a storage net as well. We've got your access ladder here that's nice and sturdy for you. And underneath, right down here below the lower bunk, is where we're going to find your LP alarm. So if you get an LP gas leak, that guy's going to make a bunch of noise and alert you to a possible leak. Let's go check out our bathroom. So coming into the bathroom, overhead, you're going to find your max fan, which is all controlled from the wall right here. It's very easy to use. It's got 4 buttons on it. You can do just vent by using the vent switches here. If you want to use the fan, you can cycle through 1, 2, 3, 4 fan speeds, or you can just have the fan off if it's already open, so you can just move through those. When it's on high, it's going to move 900 cubic feet per minute of air, so it moves quite a bit of air. And then if you need to manually do anything, you can use the knob here on board to open and close it. In case of motor failure, you can turn it there. The switch just below that's going to be our light switch, and then there is another water pump switch in here that does the same thing as the pump switch at the entry door. It's going to be this one right here. That'll turn our water pump on and off. You can see if that red light's on, that means our pump is already on. A couple of towel hangers here for you. There are these roof vents throughout the trailer. These are going to be for ducting for the air conditioner. They are throughout the trailer. They can be closed off and rotated for airflow direction. Our toilet on this is going to be a foot flush. So all you got to do is push this halfway down. You can see we're going to get water just in the bowl. Once we get enough water in the bowl, we're going to do our business, and then we're going to push this all the way down. Once you get it all the way, it's going to open up the flap. Everything's going to go down. You want to make sure and get plenty of water here. I recommend about a 10-second count whenever you get this going to get plenty of water down in there. A couple other things is you want to make sure you're using some type of black tank treatment, and make sure you're using RV toilet tissue to avoid clogs. We've got your toilet paper holder right here, just like the one in your house with the little spring-loaded tube. All right, so that's going to bring us to our shower with our extend-a-bar here for more shoulder room. It makes your shower feel a lot larger. These are nice. Again, hot and cold. The only difference here is that you will have a diverter knob to get water up to the shower head, and you've got your flow control button here for full-on flow or pretty much a dribble flow there. Which brings us around to your medicine cabinet. Hot and cold water for your washing your hands in the bathroom. Underneath, we're just going to have storage. Now, I do recommend getting under and checking your P-traps on your drains periodically. And just check the hand fittings on these and make sure they're snug, that nothing's coming loose and causing a leak. Underneath that, we're going to have another pull panel here that can be pulled off. And those two drain valves right there are going to be our low point drains that I showed you on the outside of the trailer. If you're going to be putting this thing in storage for a while or just not using it for a while, it's a good idea to drain those off. The last thing that we're going to have in here on this side of the cabinet is going to be a GFCI outlet. Right here. And you can see if it's tripped, that red light right there will come on. If everything is working as it should, red light off. Just outside the bathroom, we are going to find a nice wardrobe cabinet with a couple of storage drawers underneath, which is going to bring us to our power distribution panel. Inside, you're going to find 110 breakers and 12-volt fuses, and everything is listed over here on the door as to what they go to. I recommend picking up a variety of fuses to keep with you in case you do blow one. Okay, right here on the side of our rear wardrobe cabinet, we're going to find our Coleman AC control. It's a manual thermostat, but very easy to use. This lever right here is going to be your requested room temperature. This is going to be what system we're trying to run, so this can control your air conditioner and your furnace off, and then just fan only. We do recommend that you run your fan either in auto high or high. Either one is just fine. And then just select the system that you want to operate, and it's pretty much all does its own thing from there. Just over our dinette, we are going to find a large skylight that adds some real natural, nice lighting. To close it off, it does have a shade on it. Just pull that shade over. That's going to help kind of block some of the light coming in and make it a little darker in here for you. It'll help block a little bit of heat too. Now for our dinette, this is going to make into an alternate bed. All right, so to make this into a bed, first thing we need to do is remove the tabletop from the posts. So this can be easier with two people. This is a pretty big table, but it can be done with one. You just got to shake it off the posts. Set this off to the side somewhere where it's not going to fall over. Take your posts out and set them on the floor or store them somewhere, whatever works for you. Before I make this down, let me show you that there is a 110 outlet under here that can be used for plugging into charging a laptop or anything that you may be using there. And once I get my tabletop out, I like to tip my cushions up and get them out of the way, because that table's going to lay right in here between them, and the cushions are usually in the way. All right, now we're going to take our table and we're going to lay it right in there, just like that. And then we're going to take our cushions and lay them flat to make our alternate bed location here. Now to put it back up into the table, it's just going to be the opposite. We're going to take everything up. And now we've got to set our table back on the posts. I usually just set it in here. Again, this can be easier with 2 people. And then I like to get down here underneath so I can actually see what's going on and get it lined up and get it put back into its place. Now underneath each bench is a storage drawer that you can also access from underneath the cushions, doing the same thing here. Let's go over how your windows work in here. They're going to be slider windows. So they have a latch in the middle that you have to flip out, and then you can slide your windows open. Now for your shades, they're going to just pull down like this. And that's going to be some light blocking and give you some privacy at night so nobody can see through them. These are good for temperature control during the day as well, to help control temperature inside the trailer. If you want to just have them open, just push them back up. It is recommended that you try to pull from the middle or pull straight on these. There's strings on each side of them that help, and the tension on them is what keeps these things working the way they're supposed to. So if you end up stretching those strings out or breaking them, then the shade will not stay where you want it. Your light overhead is going to be controlled with a little push button right here. So right here, just above the slide, you're going to find your smoke alarm. 9-volt battery inside. Test it, replace the battery as needed. Make sure that thing keeps in tip-top working shape to keep yourself safe. All right, so our air conditioning distribution panel here has a couple of vents on each side, so we can open these up and allow more airflow right here into the main living space. And we can close these off to force more air to our ducting vents that are overhead. And last but not least, on the air conditioner, these do have filters that have to be serviced. You're just going to remove the grates on each side. And inside you will find your filter, which you will remove and clean with warm soapy water. Let it dry completely before you reinstall it and put it back in and keep going. And that's going to bring us to our entertainment area here. We're going to have our Jensen TV. And let me show you what's going on behind here. First thing we've got to do is remove this bungee cord. Once you get there, there's going to be a pull chain that you can kind of see right here. Just pull down on that, and that's going to allow you to swing this TV out. Now, what's going on behind here? We're going to have a couple of different hookups. We're going to have a 110 outlet. We've got our booster plate with the booster button on it, and then we have our auxiliary satellite cable hookups back here as well. When you get ready to travel, make sure that this TV is stored, latched into place, and put the bungee back on it so you don't end up with a broken TV. Now just below that, we're going to find your Furrion radio, which is also going to be your DVD player, CD player, Bluetooth, so you can stream music to it. It's got a USB station on it, auxiliary input, headphone output, all that good stuff on it. So it does everything you would expect from kind of an audio video entertainment center. Inside, we just have a little storage compartment here. And below, we're going to have a larger storage area. And a little place down there where you probably put your shoes, something like that. Let's go check out the bedroom. So another thing that Outdoors provides with their trailer is going to be one of these insulator vent pillows, which goes right up into the 14 by 14 roof vent. You just push it up in there. The operation of this vent in the bedroom is actually controlled with a remote control that's removable, and it just hangs on a pocket in the wall. This does kind of have to be angled at the vent for proper operation, so we're going to kind of point it at the vent. First thing we're going to do is push our power button and get everything kind of on, and the vent's going to automatically open up and ramp up our fan speed based on our settings. Now our fan speed can be controlled by temp right here, so it'll kick on and off based on temp. And then we have percentage of fan speed right down here in the bottom corner. The higher the percentage, the faster the fan. And then we can also reverse it where it pulls air into the trailer versus out. And then we can also just close the lid, keep the fan going, and this can run as what they would call like ceiling fan mode. Push it again to turn it off, it's gonna close down and be done with that. Fire exit window right here behind me. This one does open a little bit different as far as the fire exit portion of it. You've got a red lever on each side. This one's behind the screen, so you would just yank this red tab right here, screen's gonna pop off, and then you're just gonna flip these handles up and the screen's gonna open to the outside and allow you to climb out. Above my head, we're gonna find our carbon monoxide alarm with a battery inside. This needs to be tested just like your smoke alarm that's in the main living area. Test it periodically, replace the batteries as needed. Now we have wardrobes on each side of the bed, storage overhead, and you'll see this Zamp solar sticker right here in the middle of the cabinets overhead. This is where they have planned for you to install a solar controller if you install solar, roof-mounted solar on this trailer. Now your bed lighting can be controlled both lights on, one light on, or no lights on by using the three-way switch on the light. Now underneath on each bedside you will find 110 outlets and USB charge ports. And last but not least, in the bedroom we do have quite a bit of storage underneath the bed. Now to control your overhead lights in here, it's just a switch on the wall by the door over there. That's going to turn your overhead lights off in the bedroom. Now your bedroom can be closed off for privacy using the pocket doors on each side of the bed. They do have a travel strap that just snaps. Make sure that strap is on when you travel so these doors don't bang around. But just undo it and then the door just slides over to the wall, and that'll make this a more private space if you have visitors. So underneath the bed on each side there's also a pull-out storage drawer. It's on each side of the bed to give you some more storage. All right guys, thanks for joining me as we went through the Outdoors RV 23 DBS Timber Ridge. If I've missed anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us, send us an email, call us, text us, whatever works for you. And again, I'm Cody with Princess Craft RV.